cloud this time. We'll see what happens.
If it's in the cloud, they usually send you 24 hours. After 24 hours, they send you a notice that's available.
That's what I would think too. But I'm not so sure. I know because the volume of people that are using Zoom, it's taking up to 72 hours. But because I think this is my first, like, starting to share up in the cloud. Who knows, right? Okay, I started recording. I'm just going to go through my little checklist here to remind everybody, please do not share this link. Ask if you've got friends who want to do it, ask them to register directly with me. That way I can keep this room safe. You know, some people have had experiences where, you know, people have gotten in and they're not supposed to. We don't want to have it, what's it called, something bomb or something. We just don't want to do that.
Okay.
I have a handout that I'll share in a moment. When I'm doing it, is that you, Dot, the banging?
Oh, it is. It is.
Okay.
Okay. So should I do something here, like press a button?
You might want to mute yourself.
I'll try to find that button, yes.
Okay. And then what I'll do is if I want to talk to you, I'll just tap my ear and there you go. She's got construction going on at her house. So she was like, can I do this on my phone? Sure. So mute if you feel like there's going to be noise. Like I have chimes outside, things like that. So I've closed my windows and write down your questions unless it feels like it's going to get in the way of the next step. And then this may be a little bit more interactive than what we did last time. So, and let me think. I think I know everybody, don't I? Maybe Veronica?
I took a class with you quite a while ago in Andover. I did the Reiki 1 and 2 with you with a small group on a weekend. So that's how I.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
And now I remember just hearing your voice. I'm a little Clara audience, which we talked about last class, and so I was like, oh, I recognize her voice. Beautiful. So I don't need to tell y'all anything about me. So let's jump right into the dowsing unless anybody has any questions. Everybody's got their pendulum, right? Okay. So we're going to go to there we go. All right. And then I'll send this to you. Last time I waited to see if I was going to get the recording. This time, I'll send it to you tomorrow. So dowsing is one of the best ways to confirm that it's your intuition and that you get clarity. Not what you want, not what you think, but what is really true. Because that's what you're looking for. It helps you discern between your ego, and that's what that ego is. It's the thing that, well, this is what I think should happen. And then really what's guidance or true or coming from the divine, however you perceive that, we're going to talk a little bit more. But if you have questions about that, when we get there, down at the bottom, where it says to ask questions and things of that sort, that's a good place to ask that question. So most people are familiar with dowsing as a divination. So divination just means gathering information using a tool. So divination can be throwing dice, it can be dowsing, it can be, you've seen the crystal ball idea, all of that's divination. You're using a tool to gather information about something you're not clear about or you don't know. The dowsers can use all kinds of things. Pendulums is what we're going to use tonight, Like I said, I'll use necklaces, I'll use my keys, anything that has a swing to it that's pretty free to move is really usable. You'll notice if anybody has ever been around somebody that's pregnant, sometimes they'll put a paper clip at the end of it, and then whichever way the direction goes, it's a girl or a boy. I mean, there's all kinds of ways to do dowsers. One of my dear friends who's a PT, her father is the state dowser. And he does exactly what it says there, is that they find the underground water lines, things of that sort. They will also use ultrasound now, but they always use him first. So they have a way to double check. Dowsing isn't about thinking. Funny, Linda and I was talking about this before everyone got there. It's really not about thinking. It's about feeling. For me, it feels like, oh, that just feels true. I don't necessarily like the answer or whatever it might be, but this is true. And you're looking for that. The more you set aside your doubting mind, how could this possibly work? This is really weird. It's those kinds of things. You find it easier not to block the energy if your mind isn't sitting there. I always look at it as fun. I'm curious about things. And so those are the ways I use it. And I always looked at it. I've probably been dowsing, pretty close to 20 years. And I started out just dowsing yes and no. Do I go to the grocery today? No. Do I go tomorrow? It's very simple, so that I didn't have a lot of charge. And then eventually it got to be, do I wear my pearl necklace today, or do I wear something else? Is it better to wear no necklace? That kind of. I needed the necklace just in case I needed a backup. Right? You just never know. The most important part for me is that I feel like I'm responding. I am magnifying the resonance of truth. What is really true? For some people, it's hard to get out of our own way because our minds are so strong. I mean, a lot of smart people around, right? So we try to figure things out. This isn't about figuring it out. It's figuring out it's feeling what's true and feeling that and going, oh, I'm teasing myself. I'm tricking myself, whatever that might be. The most important piece is to trust, right, Linda?
Yes.
Trust, let go, whatever words you want to say. And the less attached you are to the process, then the dowsing is a lot easier. So Linda is an artist. So it's like allowing the flow to happen without you trying to figure it out. And many times, as I was sharing with Linda when we first got on, this is the way I treat. I mean, the person may tell me a lot of things, but then I sit sometimes very quietly and go, oh, okay. Or I pick up my pendulum or my dowsing rod and go, all right, what's the number one thing? I'm going to do polarity, or I'm going to go to their knees, whatever it may be. And the big thing that you notice, and I have it in bold on this form, practice, practice, practice. It's really important to play with it and to say, oh, like I say, go to the grocery. Don't go to the grocery. Wear the, turquoise shirt. No, wear the purple shirt. Simple, easy, doesn't matter. But what you're looking for is, what does it feel like? What does my pendulum do when it's really true? And then you get this, it's kind of like driving the car, right? You get better and better at it as you practice. So now, what I'd like to do, if it's okay with you guys, is I'm going to let's walk through the little handout. And then what I'll do is, so that I can see what everybody's doing, we'll actually do it. So the first thing is you're going to be holding your pendulum, and I'm going to show you how to do so. And you want to hold it with your dominant hand. So if you're right-handed, you put it in your right hand. If you're left-handed, put it in your left hand. You want to make sure your feet are on the floor, because if you're not grounded, how can you connect with a vibration of truth? If you're not grounded, where's it going to go? A little bit of everywhere. I'll show you how to clear your pendulum, because there's a lot of choices. And then you can write the one that feels right for you on a piece of paper. And then when you get your hand out, you'll be able to. And then we're going to talk about how to figure out yes and no. Any movement or no movement could be your answer. And it may start out really small, say today, if you've never done any dowsing, or it may be really loud. You'll figure that out, or it might be a circle, or it might just jiggle, and that's the answer. I'm going to walk through. Before you douse, you should always ask these questions. These are called the dowser questions. Before I do anything for anybody, these are the questions I ask myself. So I'm going to give you some examples too with this. May I? So I'm seeking permission. Does the person, did they give permission? And if the answer is no, then stop right there. So one of the things that I was asked is, I had a client, he thought his wife was having an affair, and he asked me to douse that question. And I was like, right, may I? The answer was no. Why? Because there was another person involved. That's me. I needed her permission as well as his. If he wanted to know, should he buy a car, that's a whole different ballgame, because there was no person involved. But it was all about permission. If it's about children, it's usually age of 6. From 6 on, you need to ask the child's permission. Even though legally you don't have to, on an energetic level, a lot of kids are very aware. So seek permission if you're dowsing for somebody and they ask you to douse for so-and-so. The answer is no. You need to have permission from the person. So it's may I, can I, should I? So the next one, can I? Do I have the skill for that question? I had a person ask me to douse for cancer. Well, I dowsed, can I? Do I have the skill? Yes, I have the skill. Should I? And the answer was no. So it was a great thing that I walked through that to make sure, because the person that was asking me, I had their permission. Do I have the skill to recognize that? Yes. And should I? No. Because this particular person was basically looking to turn down chemo. And they needed to be at peace with it, and they really weren't. So it was a little bit of a loaded question. So that's what we spent the session on, clearing the energy around their decision-making process. So that's always, may I, can I, should I? Do I have permission? Do I have the skill? And is this really either any of my business or their business or that kind of thing? And then when we're asking questions, this is the key to being a good dowser. It needs to be simple. So I use some particular examples, but it could also be just as simple as, is the vitamin C for my highest good? Then the next question could be, is this bottle of vitamin C the right one? You see how you break it down? You keep it really simple. And you just keep asking till you consistently have the right question with the answers feeling like right. Or if you were trying to kind of trick yourself, Okay. So that's the handout. We're going to use it, but I just wanted to make sure. I'm going to stop the share part. Okay. Now, any questions at this moment? Nope. Fabulous. Yes, ma'am. You want to unmute yourself? You want me to?
Sorry. Does the Wi-Fi interferes with the energy?
That actually depends more on you. So, like for me, the internet doesn't really bother me. All that electromagnetic stuff, that's not one of my areas of sensitivities. But there are a lot of people that are out here that they're spending their home days on Zoom and on their phone and all that. So the important thing is, if that's one of yours, there's a list of things that smoky quartz is a great dissipator of electromagnetic energy, for instance. These kinds of crystals, those are really good. Now see, so this is sitting at the top of my desk so that there's all kinds of energy in here because of, and this is also sitting next to it. It's just another, so not only am I using one, but I've got a second one to really move the energy. Smoky quartz is really good. And spheres, anything that's a round sphere.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, those are all really good for dissipating it. So the first thing you want to do is, so this is a homemade one, Meg. Some of you guys know Meg, but she's an energy practitioner, went through the whole program with me, but she makes these. So this is one that she makes, and see how balanced it is. See how it's laying on my hand. This is called a counterweight, so that the actual pendulum piece isn't so heavy. So if yours is really heavy, you're going to end up holding it here, and that might kind of drag on it. So just kind of be mindful of when you're buying it or using a necklace or any of those kinds of things. Okay. How's everybody got? Just hold it up to the camera so I can see, and yeah. Okay. Yours is good. Good. Yeah. So can you move your counterweight a little bit? See how mine's up here a little bit? Yeah. Yes, you. Aaron. Can you move your counterweight a little bit? Yeah.
Yeah, I can move it way up. It just then makes this, I just have to hold it up at the top. So
Oh, it's a little heavy.
yeah,
Okay.
mine is fine. As balanced as yours.
Yeah. Well, and that's the kind of thing, you know, when you're purchasing one, you can pick it up and check that out.
Right.
And
Yeah.
if not, because what happens is, like, I hold a pendulum or a dowsing rod many hours a day. So the more balanced it is, the less work it is for me.
Right.
So that just being mindful of that for yourself. How about you, Millie? Did I see yours? I didn't see yours, did I? Oh, okay, there it is. Great. Yep. Beautiful. Okay, thank you. Thank you. Who's mine?
Mine is really off. This is too small.
Right, exactly. So it's a little heavy. So what you're going to end up doing is you're going to use your thumb to hold it. See how I'm doing it?
Yeah.
So just like Erin was having to bring hers down to try to balance it to make it a little shorter. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And so now
Can
you've
you
got
tie
that.
anything?
Huh?
Can you tie anything else to it, or does it need to be another stone?
Oh, you can do anything. You can use anything for, the most important piece is you have to like it. So this is the one Meg made. Here's the one that's mine. Isn't that a great stone? So I get all excited. I'm like, woohoo! And then she put a piece of carnelian on it.
Mm.
So it's like you want to really like it. So I like my necklace, so that's a fun one. So you want to think about that. You don't have to go out and buy a fancy one. Lynn, she's also another practitioner. She had a Christmas tree ornament that was a piano. And she put it on a string. And why did she really liked it a lot? Because it was from her childhood. You know, so that's the key. You have to really like it and enjoy it, because what's that going to do to the energy? It's going to make sure there's no drag on it. Cool. All right. So now everybody's got it in their hand and they've got their feet on the floor. So that means you're nice and grounded. And if you're not grounded, just rub your feet on the floor. Yeah, there you go. And now I'm going to show you how to clear. There's two ways, especially these natural stones. You can, if you know Reiki, you can blow Reiki from one end to the other. And then it's dissipating that energy. If you don't know Reiki, I always use your imagination. My fingers have indus or pledge on them, and they're taking all the dirty, ucky, yucky energy and poof. Use your imagination, because we're working with energy, right? So your thought is telling the energy, I am clearing you. Whoop, poof. So you have both. If you have Reiki, that's a great way of doing it. If you don't, you can also use your imagination. Works the same. You can imagine if you've got Reiki, you feel a little more empowered, right? Because you have other choices. Doesn't matter. Your belief and the connection to, that's the key. All right. So now you have your position, you have a clear pendulum, and you're grounded. Make sure your elbow's resting on the table. I'm going to hold mine up a little bit so you can see. And you're going to say, show me my yes. Now I'm not moving. That's my pendulum. Show me my yes. Now I'm going to ask it to stop. Show me my no. Okay, stop. Notice I'm not being like wishy-washy with my show me my yes. Very clear, energetic direction. Show me my yes. Rest your elbow down on the table so you're not like trying to do this. Okay? Remember, it can move. It cannot move at all. It can go into circles. It can jiggle. And if you're feeling frustrated, right, what's that going to do to the energy? Going to put a drag on it. If you feel like that, you go, okay, guess what you have to do? Clear the energy. All right. If you're feeling like, oh, I think I might have got it. Show me my yes. And then I usually tell the energy to stop. Show me my no. Okay, that's good. So I want to check in with each one of you. How about you, Dot? You're doing good? And you got a yes and a no? Awesome. How about you, Jen? Yes and no, I can see it. That's good. Valerica? Yeah, yours is looking good. How about you, Veronica, right? Veronica? Yeah, Looks good. Robin? You've been taking lessons from Joey? How about you, Aaron? You have your yes and no? Awesome. Millie? How you doing?
I think so.
So how can I help you to feel more certain about what your yes and no is?
I think I just need to try a few more times.
And was it moving?
The no was not moving. The yes was moving.
Oh, cool. That's a pretty definitive yes, no, right?
Or I'm shaking.
No, no doubts. No doubts. How about you, Linda?
I had the same, yes was pretty back and forth and no was kind of
Like a jiggle?
or a jiggle.
Yeah.
I don't like no.
Here you go. Well, you might want to change that relationship. Yeah. Because the key piece is you can imagine your doubt drags on the energy. So you don't want to really put that in there, because really what you want is clear guidance. Makes sense? So for anybody that's having doubt or they feel like they drag, you clear it. So like I would have Millie and Linda clear it again. Clear it. And eventually what happens is that your yes will get really loud. So, mine gets pretty loud because I don't doubt it any longer. I use this as a way to magnify my intuition. Or I use it as a way to go, okay, I'm on track. Or, boy, it's not moving. Why is it not moving? Wrong question. I have doubt. Whatever that might be. Cool.
Can I ask a question, Cindy?
Absolutely.
So, I'm having, I think someone else said they were shaking too or something, but I definitely am having a very powerful reaction to the yes and the no, and they're very distinct.
Cool.
Physically. Even before it, like, it's kind of like physically, I can feel it before it finally gets to the pendulum. Is that normal? Is this kind of, well, normal is normal?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Normal is a relative term.
Yes.
So the answer is yes, it is normal for sensitive people. When you pay attention, you get good and grounded, you're bringing in and more connected to the energy, and this beautiful pendulum is magnifying it. So when you start recognizing the feelings, they're very distinctively different, you said, then you'll be able to go, oh, that's my no. Or I'm going to feel this a certain way. And that's like, I'll get chills. That's one of the ways that I'll go, okay, well, that must be a big yes. So, like after this, when we're off this call, probably one of the best things you could do is go take a walk, just to clear the rest of it, get really grounded with the earth and go hug a tree. So, yeah, no, that's a great question. The thing that we all do, and we talked a little bit about it last time, we all dismiss how sensitive we actually are because it's not cool, right? It's who wants to, I feel bad for my husband. Don't tell him I said that. Because, he lives with me and I'm really sensitive. Oh, don't leave that there. Oh, this is smelling, the poor guy. Oh, you're making noise. I know you're on the other side of the house, but it's bothering me. But the thing is that knowing that I'm that sensitive, it also is a reflection of how much information I pick up. So for me, it's an affirmation that I'm in the right place, doing the right thing, helping the people figure it out themselves. You know, so yeah, it's everybody that's sensitive, you know, welcome. Right? Everybody else is sensitive? You can raise your hand. This will be the sensitive club. That was good, Erin. Thank you. So the next piece is really important. This is the basic dowsing questions. May I, can I, should I? And I gave you an example, but it's really important that you make sure you have permission. If you're dowsing for anybody other than yourself. So even your children, like I was talking about, even if you're dowsing, I douse for my animals. Should they go to the vet today? If that, and of course my animals are going to tell me. So I need to be paying attention because do they really want me to do that? Is that okay? Children are another one. Parents are another one. A lot of people think they can bypass permission. There's a karmic load there. I wouldn't recommend that. Okay. So permission is really important. I'm really black and white. I have a PT friend who she offers my services to all kinds of friends and family, right? And then she'll say, oh, so-and-so is in the hospital. Could you send them Reiki? I'm like, do I have permission? Right? She goes, well, which is the better answer one? This one or this one? I'm like, do I have permission? She's like, I hate it when you ask me that because of course you don't. Like, right. So do I have the skill? This is paying attention to what do you feel comfortable dowsing? So for instance, should you be dowsing the stock market? No. Should you be dowsing when are we going back to school, or when is sports going to begin? Or it's, for me, I dowsed when was the best month to start Magic Mondays. And it was very obvious. It was June. And I went right through January, June. Okay. When do I start workshops? Oh, July. Online, July, August, September. Okay, we'll see about November. You know, it's like October. So I'm just walking through, I'm like, okay, there's my clear energy around how I'm serving my community. And so do I have the skill to decide that? Well, of course, but can I do what's best for the community? So that would be, do I have that skill for that? I'm asking that question. And then should I? Is what I'm dowsing any of my business, any of the other person's business? Is it something I really, most of the time it's usually serious things like life, disease, those big decisions. Should I be dowsing for that? Like I said, the person that wanted me to douse, they were asking me one question, was a trickery question, right? And what it was really about is they were trying to decide to not do chemo. And they really needed to make peace with the whole situation, not ask me, how their cancer was going to be. Or I was like, no. So any questions about that? Makes perfect sense, right? Yeah, nod your head. Yes, Valerica.
Can we ask the pendulum if we have permission, if the person is not available to ask?
You're going to have teachers. I think William, you had William as a teacher. Jen had William Lee Moran, who's a Reiki teacher. He believes that you can ask the higher self. I have mixed feelings about that. I feel like our ego and sometimes we can trick ourselves. So I always like it better because let's say you're trying to decide whether you're going to send Reiki to somebody or an animal or whatever. If you have permission, the ability of the energy to go to that person or animal is 10 times stronger because they're on board. So that's, for me, I don't do it unless I have permission.
Okay.
That's
So-
just my personal.
So if I want to ask if it's okay for me to insist, that would be the question for myself, to insist on talking about energy healing with my kids, that would be actually for me, not for them.
Correct.
Okay.
It's and once you have that, I have she's Greek, a client, and she has 3 kids and they're all over the country. And of course, what does she want to do right now? Because she can't go see them. She wants to send them. And I'm like, did they give you permission? She's like, no. I'm like, I don't think that's such a good idea.
Okay.
And so now she's doing exactly that. She's having these one-on-one conversations with her kids. And these are adult men about being able to offer them, energy. I was like, that's fantastic because now it deepens her connection with them on many levels, right?
Yes.
So, no, that's a good question. All right, let's go through some questions. So I would start with your name. You need it to be simple. So if I say, is my name Sarah? That's my no. Stop. Is my name Cindy? And there it goes. Pretty black and white. So you want to do the same thing with yourself. Pick out a random name and you can alternate between the two. Is my name, Sarah, and then your name. And then give me a thumbs up if you got it good or if you need more practice. Good, good. How'd you do, Robin?
I'm good. I have a question.
Sure.
What do you think it means that sometimes it's very slow to pick a yes or a no?
What do you think it means?
Maybe I'm not grounded enough or I'm not quiet enough or something like that.
Yeah, usually.
Even if it's something simple like, is my name Robin?
Right. Well, there's, your thought, your front conscious thought is, oh my God, Cindy's watching me, whatever. But the one back here that's saying, this is really stupid, she's probably going to call on me. That's the one that's dragging on the energy. So what other thoughts or emotions are going on? They drag on that energy. That's the key. That's why it's like, okay, when in doubt, clear your pendulum, get yourself grounded, sit up nice and straight, and then try again.
I like to hold my hand under it. Is that not a good plan?
It can sometimes magnify the vibration. Sometimes it can be more of a distraction.
Well, I use it like, I use my hand. So say I get a yes, I use my hand to stop it. Like so I have my hand and then I'll close my hand and the energy will stop.
You actually should be able to tell it to stop.
Okay. I usually say thank you.
You can when you're
and
done.
Then quiet it down. So you think the hand is getting in the way or?
I don't think it's necessary. How about if I say it that way? It's not good or bad. It's just not necessary because I can say, show me my yes, here's my yes, or actually it'd be easier. Show me my no. See how you can see it? Now
Yeah.
I'm not going to touch it. I'm just going to say stop.
Yeah. Okay.
And the energy, because what you're doing is your thoughts are saying, okay, I'm done. We're moving on to the next. So that clears that energy off of the pendulum.
Okay.
Does that help?
Yep.
Yep. How about you, Erin? How you doing?
I think I'm good. I think sometimes to Robin's point, it doesn't stop when I tell it to stop. So I don't know, maybe I wasn't holding it. I was wondering if maybe I was holding it tilted back a little bit too far. So I need to play with that.
It sometimes it sounds like it's almost like it's far-fetched, this idea that I can actually stop this physical item from moving.
Right.
And the answer is yes, you can.
Hmm.
And that's this thought back here. It's not, because all of you guys are really sensitive. So I know that the conscious part of you is going, yeah, I can do this. I can do this. I got this. But this one back here is going, this is really weird. I can do it. I see Cindy doing it, but I can do it. That's the key. So you want to look at that. Do you really believe that? Okay.
Hmm.
You totally could nail it. Hey, Linda, how'd you do?
Well, I didn't stop it in between the questions, but when I did yes, and when the answer should have been yes, it really let me know yes. As soon as I asked the other name, it stopped and it stayed stopped.
So that's
when I
pretty
did it-
clear, right?
When I did it the opposite way, it wouldn't do anything because it was no, but when I asked my name again, oh yeah. So
Okay.
no is like, but I didn't stop it in between. It's kind of just,
It did it itself. Perfect.
Yeah. as soon as it heard the other name.
Perfect. Yeah, it actually doesn't hear it. It feels it because it's the energy. How about that one?
But
How about you, Millie? How are you doing?
Okay.
Yeah. How did you do with the exercise?
It worked the first time and I'm a little like all over right now. It's like I feel it in my body. It's
Okay. So it's opening up that energy.
okay.
Yeah. So the kinds of things when you're feeling, because I think you said this and Erin said this, is that if you're feeling like, oh my gosh, I feel like there's a lot of energy going on, you get up, you get a glass of water, you come back, you make sure your feet are nice and grounded, you clear your pendulum and you do it again. Because the beautiful thing is dowsing opens up your intuition. It confirms your intuition. So the more you're listening to yourself, the louder it'll get because the pendulum's going to confirm it. So that's opening up even more energy than even last class for some of you guys. So I can imagine
like-
for you, this is like a switch. Boop.
Yeah.
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 Uh-huh. Linda?
does that mean at some point you can not really have to use the pendulum? You just kind of ask yourself the question and you'll know?
That opportunity gets louder and louder, but I don't know about your mind, but my mind is always going. So some days it's very quiet, and other days it's chattering and there's an argument going on energetically, so it's like I need my pendulum to help me.
So I'm probably interfering and coming up with the answer I want instead of what is.
There's a possibility. Yeah. There's a pause between asking the question, allowing the pendulum to do what you're asking it to do, and then realizing, oh, that's what I thought the answer was. So, yes, Robin.
It doesn't seem like you have to go through that process when you douse. It seems like you're just like, pick up your rod and you douse. Like for me, it's such an involved process.
Right. Well, I've been
Of
doing
like
it 20 years
clearing
now.
and sitting and grounding and
But I've been doing it for 20 years. So
you get into that faster the more you do it.
right. It's
Yeah.
like, you know, when you get in the car, you automatically put on your seatbelt or the other way, right? You know, you put your keys in there, you back out. Everything's automatic about what you're checking, where you're going. And there's a point where you don't have to check all that all the time. But how long did it take for you to get to that place? So the pendulum to me is the same idea. If you play with it and practice, one of the best places is on your supplements. You just line your supplements up, right? And you just go, is this for my highest good? Is this for my highest good? Is this the right brand? Is this the right amount? You know, those kinds of things help you get more and more practice, and you just go boom, 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 boom. I used to see Dr. Diadamo. I think, Robin, you heard this story before. Dr. Diadamo, the guy who wrote the book, Eating Right for Your Blood Type. He passed away a couple of years ago, but I used to douse my supplements before I went in to see him. And so if I got it right, I would tell him that. You know, I'm like, oh, I knew you were going to cut those 5 out. He would laugh at me. But the key piece is that it magnified my trust in my own intuition. I have several people who will bring their supplements to me and I go through them. And of course, when I know that they can douse, I tell them to make their own list and I'll check them. Because it magnifies their intuitiveness. I love that piece of it.
When I did mine, Kathy, like, because I go by the name Ronnie for short for Veronica, the pendulum, you know, is my name Veronica, it'll always say yes. But if I say to it, is my name Ronnie, it will always say no.
Because your given name on the planet is Veronica, right?
Okay, yeah.
Right. So I can ask if because my given name is Cynthia. So that's, you know, the difference.
Okay.
You know, the name that I go by professionally is Cindy.
Okay.
So on my website, it's all those things. So mine tosses it off. I have a woman who had a nickname that was American. She's from another country. And I asked her one day what her given name was. And when she told me what it was, I was like, that's a breathtaking name. She goes, well, I've never gone by it. I'm like, we should have a name renaming. So we did an energetic renaming. And we brought in the energy of her given name. She was like, I feel like a different person. You should. This is what you were born with, right?
True, yeah.
You want to look at the vibration, and that's what, like, the pendulum would help you could decide. You know, when, not that I name babies, but when people come here and they're pregnant, that's what they'll ask me. We're thinking about this name. And I'm like, I think you might want to look at well, what about this one? And I'm like, oh, that's much better. So.
Does the baby ever tell you?
Yeah, I hear it, but I also, because I'm doing craniosacral with the baby, they get more active, right? So their rhythm gets more going. And when, you know, they don't like the name, they get either really still or they're like, boom, boom. Like, I don't think that's the right match. It's very funny. They have an opinion, as we know. Kids can have an opinion. You have one of those, Robin.
Oh my gosh.
They have opinions. But energetically, that's what you're kicking into. If you're listening, then it makes a difference. You know, there's more harmony because you're going with the flow of the energy, whether it's their name or a nickname. Dot, did you take the class with the lady who has a cat that was named differently? No, I don't. You must not have. Oh, okay. So I've a person who came for, it must have been IET maybe. Maybe we did IET, but her cat's name was Truffles. Now Truffles is a big cat, like some kind of rare thingy, but big, like a Maine Coon, but big. I looked at the cat's picture. I was like, I don't think your cat likes its name. She goes, that's really funny. I usually call him Buddy. I'm like, that's his name. So she's like, she emailed me and said, since I've changed his name and I'm calling him by Buddy, he stopped, doing, it was spilling his water bowl. I don't know if maybe she was doing something, but it was very funny because he didn't like his name. He likes the name Buddy. I mean, he's a big cat. He's like a manly man. And she's calling him Truffles. Yeah, no. Right. I'm like, you should douse that. That's what I told her. So any more questions? Any more thoughts? Was it helpful? Valerica.
So I was told that the stone have their own energy.
Sure. Mm-hmm. We're going to be doing crystals next class, so yes.
Okay, and then I bought this metal ones.
Yeah.
For
Oh,
healing.
yes. From Dr. Alicia, right?
Yes. For healing.
Yes.
Okay.
The thing that's a little tough about the metal ones is they are heavy.
Yes, they are.
But
Yeah.
I know all the research that she did with them. I think, isn't that the ISIS one?
Yes.
Yes.
And this one has ISIS, but much shorter
Right.
in the middle. Yeah, they are heavy, and these are small. She had like 5 times bigger, very big.
Right. So the big thing is, in the dowsing world, whatever you're going to use it for, if it's for your, if it's for a practice like mine, or if it's just to ask questions for, like I will treat my cats. I have 5 cats, so I can get my pendulum above them and then I can just treat them and check and see what's happening. That kind of thing. But if you're wanting to treat people, I mean, I know Dr. Alicia, Reverend Alicia, she did so much research on those. So it's now a tool versus really a dowsing pendulum. So,
yeah,
boy, you have you're as bad as I am about the tools and the techniques, right?
yes.
I love all
It's
that.
very interesting. It's just unbelievable how it goes one way, and then
Yep.
sometimes it just hurts my hand to keep it like this because you don't stop it. It just goes until it stops on its own, and then
It's done.
goes clockwise.
Right. It's pretty awesome. So that was a good question. But the stones, if you're wanting to magnify your experience, you want to find something that you like. Like, this is just perfect for me. I just love this. It's multicolored. It's, it's all those really cool things. I don't even know how many pendulums I actually own. And I end up, I'll buy the ones I really like. And then I end up, somebody comes to a class and they really like this one and I give it to them. Because it was probably meant for them. I'm cool with that. So those are the kinds of things so the stones are supposed to go wherever they're supposed to be. The pendulum's supposed to be wherever it's supposed to be with the person. And yeah, so we're going to talk about let me see, we have Crystal's next class. And my thought about the class was going to be, I'm going to talk about maybe my top 5 or top 4. You could bring your favorite one. And what I would do is, like, for instance, if we were doing, clear quartz, we're not. But if I'm doing this, then I would talk about all the ways that I would use this. Feng shui, space clearing, pretty, right? So just think about that for the next time. And if you have feedback, I would love for you to send me an email because I want to make this better and better each time. I know that I would like to get the recording. I got to figure out why they're not sending it to me, or if I punched the wrong button, or I'm going to get my in-house IT person, Mark, to fix it, hopefully. But this time I recorded this and I sent it to the cloud. I punched the right buttons. I know I did. So, but if you have time, send me, feedback, because that is really helpful for me to make it even better. Okay. All right. Well, thanks everybody for spending the last hour together. All right. See you
Thank you,
soon.
Sydney. Thank
Bye,
you.
guys.
Bye.
Good energy.
Yes. Everybody, good energy.
Thank you.
Bye,
Thank
guys.
you. Bye.
Bye-bye.
We're going to